So these talks are organized by the Coexistence Consortium. And I'll just start by telling you a little bit about who the Coexistence Consortium is. So it's basically a network of conservation researchers and practitioners who are working across different landscapes and species in India. So the aim of the consortium is to understand what coexistence is, what it looks like in different contexts, and to help foster it between people and nature. So we believe that coexistence is not limited to communities who live in remote areas and have to share space and resources with wild animals, but it is also very relevant to people who live in urban spaces who encounter animals in their towns and cities. So these talks are a way for us to understand how coexistence plays out in these different scenarios. And so we're really excited to have Mr. Apoorva here with us today. So he's going to talk to us about how we can live better with bees. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I thought my net just went off. Sorry. So in this talk, he's going to touch upon how we can live better with bees, both in urban and agricultural spaces. And he will also shed light on their life cycle, their behavior, and what are the impacts of declines in bee population. So he's also going to talk about the art of beekeeping in urban spaces. So Apoorva has been a beekeeper since 2008, and he has over 100 bee colonies in his apiary. He was also just telling us how he teaches beekeeping to different people, including children who are really young also, and how they're trying to incorporate things like this into school curriculums. So he also supplies beekeeping equipment to farmers who are part of the horticulture department and tribal beneficiaries of the forest department. And he does this through his NGO called the Hive and also HoneyDay Bee Farms. So he's also received much recognition for his work, and he's received the Deccan Herald's Changemakers Award and Best Urban Farmer Award at the Urban Krishi Mela, among many other achievements. So we're really excited to have you here, and I think I will mute myself and let you take over. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nicole, and very good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for the Coexistence Consortium for inviting me for this talk. And I hope I can keep up all the expectations and whatever is being expected in this particular talk. So I have been doing beekeeping since 14 years now. And throughout my beekeeping journey, from the day I started this beekeeping, I started this as a hobby. So by keeping 2 beehives at home, started to observe colonies, their behavior, how they change their behavior according to seasons, according to challenges, according to predators. So it has always been really fascinating for anyone to, read or experience about bees. So in the same way, similarly, so there are other bees in the world where we have not talked about also. So then this talk is going to, share all those information, especially for the Indian context. So here I go ahead, will share the screen now. So we started this in 2011, and we have been training in beekeeping. We are focusing only on beekeeping and bees as a pollinator. But when we cover bees, we cover so many other things as well. It's like a tiger reserve. When you cover tigers, so other things are also will be put into conservation bracket. So in the same way, we started to give skills to the people, reaching skills to the people so that they can have livelihood and sustainability in the place wherever they are, like the tribal communities and the rural communities. So, and when it comes to urban, we started this urban beekeeping, and urban beekeeping is a part of urban bee conservation initiative, where people will get to know about bees by practicing beekeeping, and they get to harvest honey also sometimes, and sometimes it is not necessary to harvest honey at all. So they are just doing this as a hobby, and we have been functioning in different districts in Karnataka and also in different states also. So our you know, our way of execution is to go to a place wherever there will be an invitation from NGOs or people or individuals. So what we do is we do the survey, and then we liaison between the community and the government, and we propose something where the suitable investment can happen to the community, where they can create livelihood by not destroying anything. Because beekeeping is an activity where forest regeneration and all those things are promoted. More the forest, more honey you can harvest. So this is one of the few activities where we can promote in a place like eco-sensitive zones, where many activities are restricted, but this activity can be promoted. So in a, last but not the least, we have been into advocacy also, where we are delivering desensitization talks in apartment complexes, schools, IT campuses, wherever is required. We are delivering desensitization talks, because this is one of the very much needed factor right now, because fear factor is dominating everywhere when it comes to bees. So what we do is we go to that place sometimes. Usually we do that online and over the phone call. So we continuously are into this desensitization talk, and we have been successful in saving hundreds of bee colonies in Bangalore. And we have started to receive calls from other metro cities as well. So this is like uh, a new thing for people to sustain bees in their living space. So we are going to discuss that later also. So about the tribals, we have been training them. We are converting the honey hunters into beekeepers. Honey hunting, it's been happening since so many ages, but now the honey hunting is different, because there is a demand for forest honey, and these tribal leaders and tribal groups are harvesting more honey so that they can sell more honey and create more livelihood, because there is a demand from the urban areas. Because generally when we go to any shop, any kind of organic shop, then what we do is we prefer forest honey than any other honey. So that creates demand, but there is no monitoring how this honey is being harvested. There is a way to harvest sustainably. Many people are working towards it, and they can give skills to the people how to harvest honey without damaging any part of the honeycomb, so the colony can sustain. But people are becoming so impatient, especially the tribal communities. So they are hunting everywhere. Sometimes I have seen, sometimes there will not be honey also. There is a value for wax, so they will cut it. And there is a competition between one group to another group. So what they do is, if I don't take it, the other group will take it. So there will no chance for waiting, so that the bees can collect at least honey. So these things are happening, and most of the beneficiaries are from the lamb societies, and we have been redirecting them to the benefits of the government through subsidy schemes. So one of the example we have done is at Dantewada of Chhattisgarh. So I went there and then I did the survey, talked to people, and then we did a small beekeeping training program, and many people came, even the tribal women, they participated, and then we discussed with the district administration, and then we started to give training and follow up also. So the collector over there agreed to give them follow up for the whole year. It's like incubating the whole idea for the whole year. So this is something where everything changes, because the regular thing is to supply and forgetting about it without giving any skills or any follow-up visits to teach them better practices. So we did this, and then they harvested honey. So women performed better when it comes to practicing beekeeping and harvesting honey and selling honey. So this is something where we can pitch in monetizing the idea, because there are places where you cannot teach completely new thing, but honey being a part of their culture and their way of life, collecting honey, gatherers collect honey. So giving them a little bit of skills and scientific input, we can create a livelihood stream for them. So we have been working with the forest department, creating awareness and working through the subsidy schemes. We have been participating everywhere with tenders and all. And one of the incident happened in 2018 at Coorg, where landslides happened, not only at Coorg, also in Kerala, if you remember. There we identified few of the farmers who lost their lands and lost their crops, along with another NGO called the Kinder Trust from Kunur. We started to give beekeeping training and beekeeping units. The farmers who used to practice in pots, they started to keep them in a scientific approach, and teaching them reporting mechanism. We finally got to know what is happening in the status of the beehives, and the whole family involved, and then they harvested honey and also bee wax. So this is something very small, but each farmer got to harvest at least 35 to 50 kgs of honey. So which is really good. It gave them livelihood of somewhere between 40,000 to 60,000 rupees, which is really good. And this beekeeping will not take away time from the farmers. They can do their regular agricultural activity, but still they can sustain their lives. And when we talk about the species of bees in India, so these are all the 4 social bees. So Apis cerana indica, which is a cavity nesting bee, and Apis florea, which is an open nesting bee, also called as dwarf bees. And Apis dorsata is something where we have conflict in urban space and also in agricultural space, because they react in an aggressive way when they are attacked or threatened. So this is something where we will be discussing more in this presentation. So there is another species called stingless bees. So in Bangalore there are plenty. So if you just see all these electric poles, so there will be a pipe, a metal pipe, where the cables are drawn to the underground to connect. So if you look at the pipe on the top, there will be asphalting. So you just see all those pipes, there are bee colonies of stingless bees. So without knowing anything, people are destroying that also. So these are all the social bees, and Apis mellifera is a species which are exotic. They were brought to India in 1965. Now, whatever honey harvesting in commercial scale is happening in India, and India is placed at 9th place in the world for export of honey, and it is harvesting 1,21,000 tons of honey. Out of that, 55,000 tons of honey is being exported. So honey is kind of a export oriented commodity now, because the Indian consumption is very, very less when compared to the West. So it's a eusocial structure. So I will not delve into the details, but I will share with general audience with a basic idea of the hierarchy. So worker bees, they will be almost 80 to 90% of the population in the total colony, and they take care of everything. They take care of the younger larvae, for nursing, for maintaining the temperature, and producing the wax, building the comb structure, and cleaning the cell, guarding the hive, and even kind of maintaining that intelligence, like assessing what kind of food is being stored and how many nurse bees will have to be allotted to take care of the larvae. So these things are performed by worker bees, and worker bees are all females, but they cannot reproduce, and they lay on they cannot lay eggs, the fertile eggs. So they are workers and they take care of everything. And drones are male bees, where the male bees don't work in the colony. They don't have any sort of dependence on the colony. Only the dependence is that they are the only ones which can reproduce and mate with the virgin queen. So that's why they are a reserve, kind of a reserve. So approximately 10 to 20% of the population will be there in the colony. Sometimes it will be zero, because when there is a dearth period in the colony, when there is a scarcity of food, the worker bees will corner all the drones and kill them. They rip their wings and legs also, so they will kill. So whenever we see the cut of nectar flow in the local ecosystem, we see the dead drones in the bottom floor of the wooden beehive. So drones can go to any places. The honeybees communicate through pheromones. So they what they do is they have their own identity through pheromones, which will be derived from the respective queen of the colony. So the worker bee cannot go to another colony. The belonging to one colony cannot go to another colony, but the drones can go to any other colonies, because drones don't have that kind of identity pheromone that I can say. So drones will be active, and you can see them in one season, and in another season you may not see them at all. So for a colony, there will be only one queen bee. So she is the only fertile female, where she can lay eggs between 100 to 1,000 per day, and it will be directed and commanded. It's like commanding by the worker bees. So worker bees will communicate queen in a way so that the queen can lay more eggs, if and only if there will be abundance of flora available, where nectar and pollen can be sourced and fed to the young larvae. So only when there is an abundance, queen will lay more eggs. When there is a dearth period and scarcity, queen will lay less eggs. And queen is having the capacity of having that control of laying two types of eggs. One is the haploid and another is the diploid. So in diploid eggs, either the worker will be born, and then the same larva can be converted into the queen. With the haploid, only drones can come up. So she has that control, but even that kind of decision will be influenced only by the worker bees. So this is a eusocial status, and they communicate each other, and they have 44 main pheromones to communicate. There are sub pheromones of 44 pheromones, and they They have protocols for each challenges. So these are kind of really intelligent species and most evolved and very old species also. So in India, we have not identified solitary bees as bees. There are 719 species of solitary bees in India, and 300 species are endemic. And crucial, pollination when it comes to the specialist pollination. There are some plants. And their formation, the physical formation of the flower, or the kind of pollen they can give in. Those are called as specialist pollinators. So they are very selective to visit certain species of plants where honeybees will not visit much. Sometimes they will not visit at all. So there, solitary bees will play the role. So they are in decline a lot. At least when it comes to honeybees, we will talk about honey, economics, livelihood, and so many other things. But when it comes to solitary bees, completely ignored, because we don't have the data. We don't know how many are suffering and how many species are already extinct. Not much study is being done when it comes to Asia, and with respect to India, very less studies are being submitted. So when it comes to habitat loss, in urban space, it is happening more, and even in the rural space also, because we have farmers have that tendency to clear everything, manicure everything so that it should look nice. So they spray herbicide also sometimes, and they clear everything, even the fallen dead wood, even the straws, everything they will be clearing it up, and also tilling. So many solitary bees are ground nesting bees. So when you till in a particular season, they experience the loss. So in India, we have very less awareness about solitary bees, especially when sometimes when I ask questions that have you seen bumblebees? Many people in Bangalore who are residing in Bangalore, they will lift their hands and they will say, I have seen bumblebees. But bumblebees exist in India only in Himalayan regions. They are not found anywhere else. But people have mistaken as the carpenter bees as bumblebees. That I will show you. So these are all the species where you can say Apidae, Heractidae, and Megachile. So in Apidae you find more species, and Megachile also is a very prominent pollinator for certain crops and certain plants. So this, I think you have seen this one in urban space also. This is called blue-banded bee, and the blue-banded bees have very unique skill on staying there while flying, and they can do the buzz pollination also. I will explain about the buzz pollination. If you can see this structure, the flower structure, there is a platform for the pollinator to sit and do the pollination. So flowers will require pollination, and they will require their prize, which is nectar and pollen. So blue-banded bees will visit certain plants, in my observation, where honeybees will reject to go and take the nectar, because honeybees are more evolved to collect the abundance. So that's why they reject some of the plants. And it depends on the proboscis also. So proboscis of blue-banded bee is longer, and it can exploit even the the nectaring gland is deep. It can reach and exploit. So this is at my terrace garden. So this is carpenter bee. So carpenter bees are borers. So they make usually their nest in the the nesting behavior of this particular blue-banded bee is in the ground nesting burrows. So the carpenter bees are borers, usually the fallen wood, and in the agricultural spaces, if you have seen, if they have made old wooden structures, they make the bore. They bore it and they make their temporary living over there. They fill in their eggs and then they will leave. The cocoons will emerge in the next conducive environment, the weather after their life cycle when it reaches to the adult. So they will again be in the same ecosystem and they will start their own life cycle. So the carpenter bees, they look big. So mostly mistook as bumblebee in from many people, but these are carpenter bees. These are big bees, and when you hear them, that buzzing sound is very strong when they are whoring around your garden. You should observe. So if you have a bamboo also, start somewhere, the old bamboo, they may make their home also. So in Western world, there is a thing called bee hotel or insect hotel, where they have made habitats for them so that they can come and they can have their part of life cycle whenever they want to lay eggs and come out of from the brood. So this is a small carpenter bee, Seratina. So they will also nest like a borers, but with us dead trees and the trees which are drying up. So those are all the places where they finalize and nest there temporarily. All these solitary bees are solitary in nature, not social. They will not live in a social structure. So they make their nest temporary nest only when they have to lay eggs. So this is how it looks beautiful, like jewel. So I talked about buzz pollination. Buzz pollination is the special skill of certain bees, especially solitary bees. They cling on the flower and they buzz, and they attach their wings like this, and they vibrate. The whole flower will be in vibration, so the pollen will be sprayed away. This happens with tomatoes. So if you have seen the tomato being grown in the polyhouse, they use tuning fork for pollinating the tomato. So because they require certain vibrations. So bees are capable of doing it. So honeybees lack this particular behavior and skill, but solitary bees have this skill. So this is a leaf cutter bee, which I have found. So in your garden, in urban space or in agricultural space, when you see this, it is not necessarily that caterpillars are active. So this is actually from leaf cutter bees. So they cut like this, like a circular way, and they make their different units of brooding like this. They will be one on the other, and you can separate it also. You can see one cocoon in one place. So you can collect it in US. There is a solitary bee called mason bees, where they collect the cocoons of mason bees, they incubate it, and they can release it in the spring season in the orchard. So they will chew their way out as an adult whenever there is a conducive environment, and then they will get into the ecosystem. So the leafcutter bees are also having the special skill. So their skill is to pollinate a particular species like legumes. So what they do is their way of collecting pollen is different. So they collect the pollen in their underside of the abdomen. So there will be different hairs, brush kind of hairs in the abdomen. So they collect it and they cross-pollinate. So these are also specialists. There are some species where they are dependent on leafcutter bees. So these leafcutter bees are found, if you open the window, sometimes if you have not opened the window and there is a space, old window, there is a space. So there will be, lengthy straw like this. They are leafcutter bees. Probably a old shoebox if you have not opened it. If there is a burrow, if there is a cavity inside, they may make this. So as a reflex by anyone, what we do is, some insect. We will not be having any idea what kind of insect and how vital they are, but some insect and it is dirty. So this is the notion, whatever we have. So we will clear it everything. We will kill them. The cocoons will be there, but still we will clear it everything. So it is better to wait. It is better to wait so that they can leave and then we can clear them. So when do we do this? Usually they will lay eggs before the monsoon time, and then after the monsoon time, they will start to emerge. That is what I have seen with respect to the leafcutter bees. So waiting is something which is really much required. So this is a ground nesting bee again in my garden, terrace garden. So the people who are planting, even the farmers who are growing any plantation crop or anything. So if you see under, you can see soil like a volcano kind of formation. Then you can see bees which are entering inside and coming outside. There are so many ground nesting bees which you can find in urban habitat and also in rural habitat. So these bees are ground nesting bees. Nomia and many other species are there. So what they do is they will get inside and they will have multiple places for their formation of cocoons. So we will never get to see this from outside. So only when we till, sometimes you get these kind of structures. Sometimes I think some people who are terrace gardeners might have seen this. So when you see these bees working and collecting pollen and everything, they are also vital for pollination, and let them have their life cycle completed. And then when you are not seeing the bees, then you can clear them. So this is how we will have to see and observe these tiny creatures around us. So this is about the mating of the queen. So as we know, they communicate very well. It is not only with the pheromones. When they see the flower, they get back to the hive and they do the waggle dance. So the number of the time taken for the waggle is a distance, and the turn, whatever they are taking with reference to the sun, is a direction. So they can communicate these things. This skill is only with the social bees. Because only when they are social, they will have to communicate other worker bees. So this is how they communicate. So how dependent are we with pollinators? Now we are developing hybrid seeds and hybrid things where we are eating fruits of all seasons. All seasons of fruits are available in almost all seasons. So and also fruitarians and fruit eating habit is more now, and that's why not only the fruits, oil seeds, vegetables. So developing countries have more load on producing these kind of food, and they depend on more pollination. So loss of habitat and pesticide spray have taken 40% of insect biomass already from Earth. So we need to think of sustaining bees, especially in the agricultural habitat, because what I have seen is that many pesticides which are banned in Europe, the same pesticides are sold here, and even the many people who are supposed to educate people, they are suggesting the same thing, because sometimes it will be very much emergency to save the primary crop. But what we are losing is that to kill one insect, we are killing other 100 species of insects. So sometimes they are beneficial, sometimes they are nothing to do with agriculture at all. So we will have to finalize the pesticides used here, and publish at least, we cannot do enforcing all at once, but at least let us start educating farmers what kind of pesticide will be not so lethal to the bee species or other small pollinators. So what is the lethal dosage, and all those things will have to be educated. Otherwise, we are losing them in a very fast pace. Sometime, I visited Gulbarga, where tur dal is very famous, grown there. It is having some place in Asia level, where I could not see bee activity in many places, because they have stem borer and pod borer. So every day there will be one farmer will be spraying in that particular region. So, if we keep on doing this, we will lose bees, and many bees will migrate away from the agricultural uh, habitats, and we may lose pollination over there. So everything is interconnected. More pollination can happen even in the wild. And the regeneration of forest happens only when there is a quality seed, and quality seed can happen only with efficient pollination, and efficient pollination can only be done by presence of local pollinators. So this is like a continuous loop. Now we will discuss about the rock bee situation in urban space. So we have rock bees in India and Asia. This is not present in Europe or Western world. So they are the major pollinators, and they can travel around 5 to 9 kilometers. That is what it is being recorded for pollination and collecting nectar and pollen back to their nest. And they maintain the biodiversity because they are the largest pollinators in Asia. And honey production and wax production, whatever is happening in the name of forest honey by tribal communities, it is with these species. This is how the honey hunting is happening, cutting the whole comb and making it to fall, and only honeycomb will be there on the top, and it will be taken away separately. The brood will die. So whatever yellow patches you are seeing here, it is all brood, and there is no way to save them if we do the honey hunting like this. So when I started my beekeeping journey, I visited few lamb societies. In one of the lamb society in Uttara Kannada district, they started to collect, and they collected around 5.5 tons in 1 year, and it came down to 1.3 tons, because they started to take away everything, and dorsetas did not come in larger numbers, because if we do not hunt honey with the dorseta, so the same beehive, the bee colony can multiply several times in that ecosystem. So there will be more existence. So if we disturb them, if we cut them, so the one colony will remain one colony for the whole year. So why are they coming to urban spaces? These Apis dorsata or the rock bees. So there are Pongemia, copperpot, mayflower. Mayflower is for nesting, golden bell, eucalyptus, and there are weeds, wild tulsi, sessile joyweed, Tridax dicey. There are other wild species of weeds also. So weed is a agricultural term, but they are wild plants. So they have the migratory time. in Bangalore and in other cities. So soon after the monsoon, they will start to come and they will start to nest. So this is where we will have to be very, very vigilant. So we need to do some alert messaging like bee vigilance week or month in the month of October, so that they can block some spaces where bees usually come and nest. And the other major season for the bees, most of the swarms getting into Bangalore that I have observed is on March. Right on the week of Shivratri, you can see a lot of bees getting into Bangalore and nesting in most of the balconies in the apartment complexes. So now we know when they are coming, so we can do something about it. That I'll explain later. So the nesting habitat preference is for them is a tall structure and more stable structure. So even when they go for the trees also, they will finalize the trees for nesting only the tree which will not swing to the wind, which will be more stable when they have to build the comb. So in the same way, rock bees, as the name is a rock bee, so they prefer to build in a huge rocks. So in urban space, the buildings are taller than trees now. So most of the mature trees are gone because of the development. And the taller structure is buildings right now. And they are more stable also. They will not swing to the wind anyway. And when there is a balcony, it will be kind of a spectrum for them to forage and come back. So that makes them very ideal nesting site. So these are all the reasons why they keep swarming into Bangalore, and this is going to repeat every year. So the swarming season will be between the soon after the monsoon. October is a small season, but March will be the bigger season. So we need to note down this, and then what we can do is to mitigate this issue is to after they leave in their migratory time basically. So after the migration happens, we need to coat that particular space wherever they have come, because if they remain their wax and other things or they in the same place, the other swarm may come in the same season or in the next season. So we need to coat it by probably repainting it or some pungent liquids. So and another small hack is to make the ceiling little unstable. You can tie something to the ceiling which will be swinging and always shaking, like screen or danglers or any flags, anything which will be fluttering or disturbing that particular space only temporarily. 1 month, 1 or 2 months, during October and November and March and April. So these are all the 4 months where you will have to be more vigilant and avoid them making nest in the balconies. You cannot do that in the whole building. So balconies are such places where you have the more conflict. So the coexistence is not happening because you will have to access the balcony. So if you avoid the balcony, let them make the nest in any sort of beams and projections. So there is no problem. So let them complete their life cycle and they can leave. So these things must be practiced only when it comes to the balconies. So block out, it's not blackout, block out curtains so that the bees will not enter inside your home in the late evening, in the early morning, because Dorset as rock bees can pollinate, go for pollination in the full moon nights also. They have that capacity. Nature, they have made few species like this responsible for pollinating more flowers, because there are flowers which will require pollination in the nights also. Most of the times it will be done by moths, but moths and bats, but sometimes bees will also be required. So you can put something like this, and uh, they also understand us. They look for all the movements, especially when they come to the urban space. We have not seen them reacting very aggressively in urban space, especially, but the same colony or the same sort of things which are available in rural or in the wild, they chase, they attack. Their behavior is completely different. But in the urban space, that I have observed, their behavior is different because they get to see a lot of movements, smell, color, everything will be there. So even in the very open public places, also under the metro, bridges and government buildings, we have seen big beehives not doing, not attacking anyone, doing nothing. So they are completely, they know that they are not threatening us. So they can grow large. The people, when they see a small swarm, they will not do anything. But when they grow large, then they will panic and usually call pest control companies. So pest control companies offer them killing, and it will be very instant. So people are fond of quick results. So that's why they call pest control companies and they will do the killing. So in a same way, if you do that in other countries, if you kill the beehives and bee colonies in other countries, you will be jailed. But here in India, there is no stringent norm for protection for protecting wild bees. So that's why we will have to think of making a policy, at least when they come to the urban space, some sort of protection should be there for the bees. Right now, anyone can do anything. Right now, there are independent players, there are pest control companies. So many people are doing their own thing. So that's why. So coexistence is the only way where we can practice. It's easy to understand, but difficult to practice. So that is something we will have to do this for the stretch of so many years, so that we can deliver something. So this is something like a parabola on the ceiling. This looks luxurious, but you can tie some cloth from one end to another end, covering the whole ceiling. So to the wind, it will it will be shaking. So bees will not finalize your ceiling in the balcony to nest. So we are using mosquito sliders like this in the windows. You can use it for the bees also. So what we do when termites, when they get their wings in the rainy season, what we do, we switch off light in the living room, we switch on light on the balcony. They will go. In the same way, bees can also be managed like that. And another hack is that bees will not be attracted to the red light. So this is a window film which is in red color. So you can place this window film temporarily or permanently as you wish. Even the bulb is there. You can cover the bulb with a red colored plastic, the craft sheet, or people who are using it for making bouquet and gifting the fruits. That transparent red colored cover will be there. You can cover the bulb in the balcony, and even in the living room also, or wherever they are attracted and wherever they are coming through to your home, you can block that space by putting this red colored thing, so that they will not be attracted to come inside. So the most of the people have this problem. When they switch on light in the early morning or in the late evening, bees will come, because they will be confused. The sun is on or something like that, I don't know, but they will be confused towards artificial light. So these are all the small hacks where we can practice before calling. We need to make sure that we have done all these things before calling someone who will come and kill them. We will have to make sure of that. So this is the last thing about urban beekeeping. So there is no commercial gains. It's a hobby, but you can do that in a balcony, terrace, kitchen garden, lawn, anywhere where you have the space. So my suggestion is to not to do this above 5th floor in any apartments, because they have the problem with flight when there is a gust of wind blowing out there. So in training will be given, we do the training program, and weekly inspection, we will teach you how to do the inspection, and you can harvest your own honey from your own bee colony, and you can divide them and gift it to your friend and relatives also, if they are interested. Otherwise, if you don't want to harvest honey, if you don't want to divide also, let it be. You will give a feral swarm to the nature, and for one colony you are giving them space for sustained life. So this is a favorite place for the Athis serrana colony in Bangalore, the Kamba compost making pots, where they make their colony inside, because it is cold, it is dark. That is how they like it, because they are cavity nesting bees, and it is a beautiful cavity for them. So when you do the flipping the lid, then you can see multiple combs over there. So when we see this case, what we offer to the people who call us is that you can become urban beekeeper, because anyway they have come to your place, you can take care of them, and if you are interested, you can harvest honey, but you can still sustain them in a wooden beehive. We can teach you, we can support you. So if they like it, we will make them urban beekeepers. We will give them wooden beehive. We will invite them for the training. Otherwise, if they are scared, and a lot of things will be there in the head, because they will not suddenly agree to keep a beehive at home, because they will have to seek permission from all the family. So that's why we shift the whole bee colony to our bee farm. We take care of them there also. So it's a relocation process. So this is found in HSR layout in Bangalore. Huge beehive, huge bee colony. So like this, we cut one comb by one, and we attach to the frames over there, and then we get the queen also, and the queen we will handle it very carefully, and we will get it inside the beehive. So this is a empty pot, the planting pot, which was there inverted. So the bee colony is there like this. So this is a shoe box which was not touched for so many days. So there was a colony inside. So when you see this, they are trying to coexist. They are trying to coexist, but we are receiving wrong messages that they are dangerous. So before they do something, we will have to get rid of them. This is something whatever we have in our mind. So like this, you can have inside the compound. If you have a bigger lawn, you can place them like this. And this is called stingless bees, whatever I have explained. So this is called meliponiculture. You can keep the stingless bees at home, especially terrace gardeners. You can keep them. You have the pollination done from them. And this looks like this. The pods will be there. These are non-apis species. These belongs to Meliponini species. So they make their pods by collecting the resins of the plants, and even the honey is stored inside the resins. So that's why it contains more flavonoids, which is resulting in antioxidants. So this honey is in high demand also. So when you start beekeeping, you will be scared for sure, but year on year you get more knowledge, more skill, and you finally get to know about your bees. And your children will talk about bees with their children, with their friends, and your friends also. So they they have a different exposure altogether. So this is a apiary we have been maintaining in one of the place in one season. So you can see a lot of wild plants around, but still not cleared. They are happy, and they collect a lot of nectar and pollen. And this is a relatively bigger apiary. We have placed 2 species also. So anytime if you want to have any clarity on what kind of bees have come to your home and how to manage it, how to manage the situation. If you want me to talk to your management or committee in your apartment complexes, so anything which is required to save a bee colony, you can call me, and also you can follow with whatever we are doing with the Hive Trust and also HoneyDay Bee Farms. So thank you so much, and I'm open for questions. Thank you.
I have a question, please.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
In fact, I have 3 parts to my question. Regarding the drone.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? So little bit short of time, so I request you to just keep your questions also a little short, and then
Questions are short. Questions are short. Regarding drone mating with the queen, actually 1 drone is enough, right? It mates and then it keeps on laying the eggs for how long? Can you clarify that, please?
No, actually, queen will mate with more than dozen of drones, and she mates only once in her lifetime. She stores all the sperm inside the sperm sac, spermatheca, and she takes some time, like 1 week after mating, and she will start to lay eggs. And she can live up to 2 years almost.
Yeah, regarding bumblebee nest in the porch, I have this problem. How do you control them by not spraying any chemicals?
No, there are no bumblebees, as I told you. That should be carpenter bees.
I'm in USA. Yeah. I am in
USA.
I have a problem in the porch.
Okay. But are they causing any trouble, sir? Are they stinging?
Yeah, because they're making holes all over the ceiling, and it's very costly process for me to do carpentry again. All of that.
They are boring everywhere.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, I think after their season of moving, because bumblebees have different structure, and there will be multiple queens. So many queens will die, only 1 queen will remain, and she will go and hibernate inside the bark, and she will create the colony. So their social structure is not eusocial, it's kind of different. So that's why after they leave, I think it is better to contact the local consultant over there to spray something to the wood after they leave, not before they come. So not after they come.
I did spray the chemical, it was controlled, but I want an alternative not to spray the chemical. That's why I'm asking you. Okay.
I really don't know much about it, sir, because throughout my life I have been in South India and the Northwest India. Even I have not worked much in Himalayan biosphere also.
Okay,
so bumblebees is
And you said the pesticides that are very harmful. Can you name few that we not encourage them not to spray in the farms?
See, when we say don't spray, we should also give them alternative also. So we will have to, the farmers, when they ask this question, what I will suggest is that when you will have to spray to save your primary crop, then you will have to shift the bee colonies to someplace else. And then after the spraying, after 1 week, you can bring them back when it is a matter of beekeeping. But with respect to local bees and the wild bees, what I will suggest is to spray only in the late evening, in the early morning, before the bee activity starts in a full swing way. So in that way, and also when the crop is flowering, the spray should not be made, and it should not be practiced.
What is the maximum activity of the bees to forage?
As I told, with respect to distance or time, sir?
Time.
Time, see, the temperate countries have, a longer day and all those things are there. But when it comes to the tropical region like India, subtropical region, they in the summer they will start early, like 5:30 to 5:45 in the morning, and they can be active till 6:45 to 7 p.m. in the evening. And in the winter it will be shorter. They may leave their hive after 6:30 or 7 in the morning, and they will be back by 5:30 or 6.
And your name is Apoorva. Last question. That's it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. How can we use bees and bee colonies for saving our farms from elephant attack?
Okay, so we actually discussed in the before we begin this session.
Yeah, I was just logging in and I heard last bit of it.
No.
Was it the
It is
same
better.
thing?
It is good because now participants are more and it is better. Yes. See, that particular exercise with beehive fencing is the name. So beehive fencing was practiced in Masai Mara in Kenya. So that was successful over there because they have African bees and African elephants, and they have the conflict naturally over there. So whenever the elephants listen to buzz, any sort of buzzing sound, they will deter, they will change the direction. But here we are in Asia, we have Asian bees and Asian elephants. They never had any type of conflict in the wild. I have seen big dorsetta hives on the tree, and underneath many elephants will be sleeping. So they have not attacked elephants, they have not chased elephants, but while they are grabbing something, the bees have not attacked them. So there is no conflict. So every year I lose bees because of elephants when I place them for honey harvesting project in Coorg. They topple on it and they make the box to fall off. So Asian elephants are not afraid of Asian bees. That I can confirm. Yeah. So that exercise will not be useful in my experience. But I can say that probably different level of experiments will have to be performed or anything. But elephants are any animal species which are in group and herd, they learn challenges, they learn and they overcome. So that's why it is not useful actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, sir.
I think we're almost out of time, but Asta had a question. Asta, do you want to unmute and ask it?
Okay. There are also a lot of questions in the chat box. So Apoorva, if you can take a look and maybe answer them later. But Asta, please go ahead.
Okay. So hi Apoorva, like it's a really nice presentation.
Thank you.
Nice presentation. So my question is like because I've been working in Himachal for a very long time, so I have seen like the farmers, like the communities over there, they are using a box method only, and this is their traditional method to collecting the honey. So I wanted to know that is there any difference between your method and the traditional Himachali method? And my second question is, what are the challenges farmers are facing during the apiculture farming? Like the very basic challenges, like when they are like trying to, place the box or so that's two questions.
So when it comes to Himachal and Uttarakhand, there are places like Kumaon region where the wall hives are there. So that is more traditional and very old. They have their own history. Whenever they build their home, there will be a wall where they make space for bees. Even there is a new home, they make the space. So that is called wall hive. When it comes to the log hive, the next thing is log. The hollow log. Inside that, every season the bees will come on their own and nest, because there will be a lot of smell of wax and all. So now everyone are practicing with the scientific box. So that is there. Whatever I am practicing, that is the same thing with box. That is called as Langstroth hive, or there is a standard in India by Bureau of Indian Standard, ISIS standard, which is having eight frames, and there is another standard called Janata. So we are practicing in the same box method, and we are having good results, and we are learning a lot about it. So the basic challenge for any beekeeper when in the initial stage is is about accessing the right knowledge and right practices. Initially, they will not know much about it, and even they are interested accessing the right information about his case. Because when he opens up internet, there will be a lot of things mixed with Western beekeeping literature and other things, mixed up everything. Most of the literature, scientific literature, which is available now, is only with Western beekeeping, Apis mellifera. But we are practicing with Apis cerana. So there is a difference. So that's why accessing the right knowledge and getting the right quality training is a key factor for success of apiculture.
Okay, thank you.
Apoorva, do you have a couple more minutes to take a few more questions?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a question regarding the migration of Apis dorsata, since you said they come to Bangalore. So could you talk about where do they migrate from?
Yeah, this is really interesting. Actually, if anyone is interested to collaborate and work, scientific community, science fraternity, but I'm guessing, there are some places where there are rocks away from Bangalore during the rainy season. And in that particular places, the rainfall will be lesser than Bangalore rainfall, because Bangalore receives good rainfall when compared to other semi-plains and plains region. Bangalore receives good rainfall. So they will go towards Hassan region or the Tumkur region. I'm guessing that. Or otherwise the Ramnagara and the Mysore, towards Mysore region. And in Sri Lanka, they have measured in one of the study that dorsata is capable up to 200 kilometers. So, but I think we need to study more, and we think we need to observe more where they are going and what is their migratory track. Like the elephants have their own corridor in which month they will. Now the corridor is destroyed, but still they have the corridor. So what about the bee corridor? Where they are going and where they are maintaining their colony in the rainy season, and after that how they are coming. So all these things will have to be actually researched. It's a very good topic actually.
Okay, thank you. There's another question from Dee. Can you discuss the potential impact of a transition from bee collecting to beekeeping that may have in the traditional ecological knowledge of indigenous communities?
Yeah, the indigenous community like Jainu-Kuruba and in Nilgiris, Toda, so all those people, they had a very good, they have very good knowledge about when they come, when will they arrive, the swarms will arrive, when the community can harvest honey and how to harvest honey. So all those things were there, but now it is demand and supply when it comes to forest honey. So we are losing it actually, all the knowledge, whatever they had. So, they used to take out the extreme left few combs and the right combs, and the middle combs were with the brood. They used to not to take. take away all those things. But now they are taking everything out. So we need to see how they are changed. They are changing their practices also before taking this as a study. So that's why the scientific beekeeping is really good, very sustainable, and the local knowledge, whatever we have with tribals and the people who have been doing beekeeping since 1919, we have taken all the knowledge and whatever we have to do that as a good practice, because for India it is still new when it comes to do the beekeeping in the box, because only after the independence, Khadi and Village Industries Commission, they started to promote this as a employment generation activity in the places which are adjoining to the forests. So now it's very new when it is compared to Europe and other regions. They have been doing since more than 500 years. So we are yet to do the good practices and transfer the same knowledge to our generations. So let us keep up the good practice, the positive ones, and teach the younger generation, the next generation.
Okay, the next question is, how much would it cost to get started on apiculture as a hobby in Bangalore?
It will be around 4,500 rupees to 5,000 rupees, depending on the accessories which you are going to buy. It will include basic kit will include the wooden beehive or the box, and the colony, which will be having 6 frames of combs with brood worker bees and mated queen, and an iron stand to place the beehive.
Okay, thank you. There still are a few more questions, but I think in the interest of time, I think we'll stop here. So thank you so much for coming and giving us this talk. It was really enlightening. And thank you everybody for joining. So we do record these talks and we upload them on our YouTube channel. So we can also send across the recording. So you can also see this and our previous talks there. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks, Apoorva, on behalf of the Coexistence Consortium. Thanks once again for sparing the time.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.